Thank y'all for joining. Thank you for the gift. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the rose. Thank you for joining. Thank you. So today I'm going to be reading this book, The Power of the P2. It's Dating, Marriage, and Divorce Advice for Women by Kara King. So that's what I'm going to share with y'all today. She have up to 11 chapters. I'm waiting for a few more people to come in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with a few people I do have in here. I guess whoever comes in, comes in. But I'm reading The Power of the P Part 2 by Kara King. I'm going to read you the introduction. I wrote The Power of the P with the sole intention of letting women know that we have the power. And therefore, we don't need to take crap from any man for any reason. Honestly, I have no agenda other than empowering women. Little did I know that I was stirring up controversy with every page. I really pissed some people off. It was fun. Since then, I've been called a feminist. I've been called a monogamist. I have been called a man-hater from hell. But what I've never been called is a doormat, fool, or pushover. Call me what you want, but the powers laid out in the first book have worked magic in my life and in the lives of women all over the world. I received thousands of emails from women stating that the powers have changed their lives for the better. Some implementing that powers in my life. I never had a broken heart, been cheated on, dumped, or played for a fool. I've been happily married for 12 years to an amazing gentleman and treats me like a queen. So call me what you want, but I know what works with men and what doesn't. I'm not about to keep this information a secret. I'm going to share it with women everywhere. Sorry, guys, but the cat is out the bag. The first book, The Power of the P, empowered women by changing the way they think about men and dating. In that book, I laid down the foundation of P Power. Part 2 is going to provide you with tips, tricks, and advice that will help you, that advice that will be build upon the knowledge in the first book. So if you haven't already, I highly suggest you read the first book. This follow-up book, The Power of the P Part 2, is going into more detail and cover a broad range of situations. These situations include divorce, marriage, the single life, dealing with baby daddy drama, infidelity, and a variety of other common situations. It's my hope that both books will be used as guides to help women navigate through the complexities of womanhood. It's my goal that they will both serve a motivation and encouragement through the trials and tribulation that we all may come across at a point in our lives. These follow-up book is a little bit different from the first book as it's broken down into sections. Sections 1 will discuss more of the powers that a woman, the power that we have as a woman. If you have the journal or completed assignments from the book 1, keep them handy. This book will continue in the spirit of the first book by asking the questions and provoking throughout your unique situation. Section 2 will discuss powers that men have over us. Being aware of grip and men and potentially having over us is empowering itself. That's because their powers can distract us from using our own powers. They have the ultimate ability to make us powerless. Therefore, it's imperative that we are aware of these magical P powers. And of course, just like the first book, I need to warn you that I will be very blunt. I don't want to waste anyone's time by beating around the bush. For those new to my writing, please know that I will use cuss words and I speak about controversial topics that could be considered politically incorrect. Women need this empowerment now more than ever because a lot of us have been too nice, too naive, and too passive, and it's gotten into bad situations. Therefore, nothing's wrong with being nice, but some men have learned how to take kindness for weakness. Unfortunately, that led to some of the experiencing heartaches, lies, games, and cheating time and time again. It's time for the nonsense to stop. It's time to give the bad guys a taste of their own medicine. It's time to flip the game around on them, and it's time to decide to only give our love and respect to good men of this world. The problem we face as women is when we try to have a little fun and play games, or do the same things men do. We're shamed and made to feel wrong. Meanwhile, they can run around doing whatever they like and no one ever blinks an eye. This is no accident. We've been conditioned by society to act and behave in ways that benefit males simply because society is run by men. Ladies, they tricked us. They tricked us into thinking it's okay to rush into sex. Then they turn around and shame us when we do it. They tricked us into feeling guilty and doing the same things that they do. But worst of all, they tricked us into settling for less than what we deserve. Well, the fun and games are over, boys. It's time for us to do what makes us happy. Do it without guilt and stop worrying about what society thinks. It's our turn for a little bit of fun. It's funny. Some men are out there are all mad about the books called them sexist. However, when you ask them the same, men, would you not want your daughter or your sister to know this information? They will say yes. So when it comes to the women they date or women in general, the vice is bad. But when it comes to women they love, the vice is on the money. That alone speaks value about the content of the books. It's because P-Power is invaluable characteristics that all women have. But men only want women they love knowing this stuff. They don't want every woman knowing, because when used properly, it enables women to automatically detect when a man's playing games. When this power is captivated and used in a daily life, you will become unstoppable. You will be able to handle situations with fierce feminine wisdom. You will be able to hold your own in any situation, whether going out conquering the male dominant world, getting your husband to feel the way he did 20 years ago, or simply getting a man's attention set by you. Every woman possesses this power. That's the amazing thing about it. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've been through. It doesn't matter your age, what you look like, or what size you are. The only thing hinders you is being unaware of your power. Being aware of it is half the battle. The other half is practicing it, using it in your everyday life. When you do, the P-Power will leave you feeling empowered and ready to handle anything a man throws your way. Part 1, More Power. Part 1 of the book is the first 7 chapters. Each chapter is going to introduce a new power. Some powers will be more than for single women, and others will be more for committed women. However, all these chapters will cover issues, topics that all of us may come to deal with or have dealt with or at some point in our lives. Chapter 1, The Power of the Personality. Forget about the pretty face and a nice body. Ask any man and he will tell you that without a good personality, none of that superficial stuff matters. As I mentioned briefly in the book, great looks will have a man desiring you, but it won't have them getting down on their knees and eager to dedicate their lives to you. That's why it's imperative that we never underestimate the power of the personality. The power of the personality is why you see men head over heels in love with average looking women. It's the same reason why we can get totally hung up on an average looking guy. Personality is important for obvious reasons. No one wants to be with a boring person, a rude person, a conceited person, or a person with a self-centered personality. But there's more to it than that. The power of your unique personality is what will help you throughout the different phases of your love life. It's what will help you meet men when you're single. It will have them intrigued while you're dating. And it will make the special man fall in love with you, stay in love with you, and dedicate their lives to you. This chapter is not about changing who you are for a man. It's about eliminating parts of your personality. It's simply going to be section filled with bits of pieces of advice that you can sprinkle on top of your personality to help you bring out your inner vixen. Throughout the chapter, I'm going to cover tips for women, such as finding the best places to meet men, tips for meeting men offline, and tactics to draw them in naturally. So this chapter is going to cover a lot of things all which related into one way to another. Single most important and special part of a woman's her personality. Personality traits for a man adore. I want to discover the personality traits that turn men on the most. So I did a lot of book research. In addition to this book research, I asked a group of single men to list their top 5 personality traits in a woman. After 2 of the 10 men answered with description of breasts, I remember then the breasts were not personality traits. After this reminder, the men came up with 50 answers total. No, they came up with 50 answers total, sorry. The 5 responses below were the answers that showed up most frequently from the men questioned and in the book research I found. Chances are high that you have some of these personality traits within you. Know that whichever ones you have are valued deeply by men. Just like when you meet men with character or men with great personality traits, get turned on and impressed. Men like and appreciate this stuff too. It's not all about butts and breasts. 1,000 pretty girls and perfect ladies can come and go, but it's the woman's personality that makes a man fall in love. Personality, just like confidence, is a non-physical trait that's just as sexy, if not more, than physical appearance. Women with good personalities leave a lasting impression on a man. Here are the top 5 personality traits of 50 responses. Intelligence. A lot of men appreciate intelligent women. Intelligence turns men on. It stimulates their interest. But this is not about going to Harvard or becoming an intellectual. You don't have to be a genius to be labeled intelligence. Intelligence comes in many forms. There are more than one way of being smart. Intelligence can be expressed in a multitude of ways, including, but not limited, creativity, ambition, education, entrepreneurship, determination, accomplishments, and or talents. Simply having a goals and actively working towards them is sexy. Don't be ashamed of your nerdy side, your unique talents, or your interests. Be proud of your brain and never underestimate the value it brings to your unique personality. Sense of humor. Ladies, you know the most of us love and appreciate a man that makes us laugh. It turns out that men love this quality just as much as we do. In turn, they also like when a woman appreciates their unique sense of humor. They enjoy when a woman can kick back, have a good time, and relax enough to be herself and let her sense of humor shine. If you're known to crack your friends up, but around men you feel too uncomfortable to let this side of yourself show, you need to work on your confidence. Relax and let loose. Be your kooky, funny, and outrageous self. Don't ever worry about what man's going to think. He's either going to get you or he won't. If he doesn't get your unique brand of humor, then you don't want to waste your time dating him anyways, because he will probably end up being boring to you. If he does get you, then he will admire your unique brand of funny and get turned on by it. Everyone loves to laugh, and if you can make a man laugh, that speaks volumes about your unique personality. Kindness. Men love bitches, I agree. But don't like rude bitches. In today's self-centered, self-serving world, men have come to appreciate a woman who possesses some very simple, old-fashioned traits: niceness, consideration, politeness, kindness, care, and consideration for others. People have become so rude these days that finding a person who's kind has become a valued trait. Never disguise your politeness or mask it. If you're a sweetheart, let your kindness show. Just don't allow men to take your kindness for weakness. I agree with that. Honesty and faithfulness. Men apparently appreciate honesty and faithfulness just as much as we do. Just realize, if you were an honest and faithful woman, that these personality traits are appreciated by men. If you find that men are taking advantage of this part of your personality, you need to be more careful about who you being faithful to. Look for men of integrity, men that value your honesty and faithfulness, not men that take advantage of it. For more details about the traits that men love, see the section titled Loyalty under the chapter called The Power of the Food, Sex, and Loyalty. Next is appreciation. This was covered in the book 1, but seeing it repeated over and over again by the man only confirms its importance. Men like a pat on the back. Men needs to feel appreciated, especially when the good men doing the right thing. Just like they need to be told that we're beautiful. Just like we need to be told that we're beautiful and we have a need to feel cherished by the man we love, they have a need to feel appreciated. It's about boosting confidence for the other person. It feels good to get your ego stroked. We like it, and so do they. Hey, if you got a good man, there's nothing wrong with boosting his confidence. Appreciate the little things, appreciate the big things. You should even appreciate the things you expect. This isn't about kissing a man's ass or constantly running behind him or thanking him for every little thing. Appreciation is about acknowledging when he's doing the right thing. It's about letting him know that you like what you like about him. When his efforts are acknowledged and appreciated, he will be eager to repeat that behavior over and over again. He will also appreciate that his woman has a appreciative personality. Drawing man to you naturally. A lot of women desire a man in person. They prefer to avoid the online scene. That's nothing wrong with that. However, it should be understood that if you're not willing to smile and be friendly, you're going to have a difficult time. To be successful at meeting man in public, you have to send out a nonverbal message that says you're willing to engage. A signal that says, I'm approachable, I am single. Don't be afraid to come up and talk to me. Below, I'm going to show you how to send out this nonverbal vibe and teach you how to draw a man to you naturally. First thing first, you walk around with a very serious face. You might have a problem meeting men in public. Some of us look bitchy or mad, even when we're not. I have that problem. My nose is turned up and people automatically assume I'm a snob or a bitch, when in fact I'm the exact opposite. If people have told you before that you look mad, snobby, bitchy, or angry, etc., then you have to put in a tiny bit of effort, extra effort. You have to intentionally look approachable, and you look too intimidating for most men to get the courage to come up to you to talk to you. Put on a smile. You don't have to look crazy walking around looking like a joker. Just crack a small smile. Look at yourself in the mirror. Take note of normal facial stance. Then notice how you look with a smile. Can you make yourself appear friendlier with a small smile without looking ridiculous? The smile trick. When you're walking around out of public, don't stare at the floor. Walk with your head up high. This demonstrates confidence and approachability, but more importantly, this allows you to do the smile trick. The smile trick is for when you are out in public and you notice a cute guy or you catch a guy checking you out. If you like him, then don't be afraid to let him see you checking him out too. Let's let him notice you noticing him. If he looks again, this is your chance to give him a little bit of a flirty smile. You smile when you give him the okay to approach you. If he's interested. If he's not a complete P, it will be also give him the confidence to approach you and spark up a conversation if he doesn't come up to you. Then let it be. He was either just looking, he's in a relationship, or perhaps he's just too shy. One of the most important things to know about meeting a man out and about is that some men are afraid to approach us. You may have wondered in the past why men don't approach you. You think you're a pretty lady. What's the deal? Honestly, some of them are terrified, especially the good ones. So that means sometimes you have to be more willing to be the outgoing one. If a man makes eye contact or is checking you out, don't look away. Smile pretty. Remember, it's okay to flirt, just not pursue. In the first book, I talked about flirting without pursuing when it comes to meeting men in public. You can bend this rule a little bit. You can be the first one to speak up conversations, the first to smile, or the first to flirt. You can get away with some pursuing because there's a big difference between flirting with men you know and flirting with a random man in public. Allow me to explain. The men you meet in public are going to be a lot more intimidated because they haven't had time to gain the confidence and courage to approach you. They haven't had the time to figure out if you're single or if you're even interested. Men don't like rejection just like we don't like it. Rejection sucks. Unfortunately for them, they're the pursuers, and this means they're got to get over their fear of rejection and just go for it. This requires a lot of self-coaching to gain the courage needed to pursue. Approaching women in public robs them of the time they need to gain the courage. On the other hand, when you know a man through work, school, or some other day-to-day setting, he has time to figure this stuff out. That's why there's no need for you to pursue. Obviously, when meeting men in public, these guys don't have the privilege. It makes a lot of them intimidated, scared, and confused, especially if you're a really pretty woman. That's why we need to give them a boost when meeting men in public. Smiling, encouraging, and being friendly and outgoing will give them the boost and approval they need to do their part and approach you. A side note to the men reading this book, Spying on the Girls Talk. The nice guys of the world have got to stop being so shy and scared of us. We want you to approach us. The approach is man's job. If you want to meet women, you got to get out there and be the aggressor. Please, if you're a single, good quality man, approach us. Flirt with us. We want good guys, but unfortunately, a lot of the men that have the courage to approach us are the players. We can't tell the difference right away. So we have to go with the flow and work with whoever comes our way. Unfortunately for the good man of the world, this hurts your opportunities with the woman. It denies us the chance of meeting you. Unfortunately for women and the nice guys, it's usually the players and the douchebags that have the courage to come up to random women and spark up a conversation. It's only because they're very confident and comfortable talking to women. They're gotten over the fear of rejection. That's why the a-holes always gets the girls. The a-hole isn't afraid to do the job as a man and approach women. It's because they're the ones willing to put themselves out there. That Mr. Shy Nice Guy who is scared of rejection will never get anywhere. That's why I feel it's important to flash a smile. Let Mr. Shy Guy know you're approachable and interested. Wipe away the fear of rejection. A man may have by looking inviting and friendly. Besides, everyone looks prettier with a smile. You're too sexy. It's important to look approachable when trying to meet a man in public. However, sometimes our definition of what it means to look approachable can sabotage our efforts. This happens when we dress overly sexy. Looking too sexy in the wrong places, such as the grocery store or the gym, sends two bad messages. Some guys may judge you by assuming that you're desperate to eager for a man, while others may be intimidated to talk to you. Of course, you're single. You want to look good when you go out in public. I'm not saying to look like a slob, but have you noticed that when you're wearing sweatpants or no makeup and a frumpy bun, that's when men want to talk to you. That's because they feel less intimidated. Begin to take notice of how you look when you approach you the most. It's usually a fine balance of looking cute but not overly sexy, which is ironic because the other time would be dolled up looking sexy other than when we're single. Hello, man, we're advertising. Duh. A few other reasons it's important not to look overly sexy everywhere you go. It's because you want men to like you for you. You also want to hold on to the opportunity of giving him something to look forward to, something to anticipate. If you're looking your best when he meets you, lose out of your chances to wow him on the first date. He will have nothing looking forward to. You use up all your best tricks upon meeting him. Stop being too sexy hurts us in a few ways. It can send a message of desperation. It can intimidate men. And it can rob you of finding a man that thinks you're beautiful just the way you are. Besides, if he liked your normal, everyday look, imagine how's going to turn him on to see you at your best on your first dates. The good and the bad side of being ongoing. Meeting men in public or being able to naturally draw them to you requires some degree of being outgoing. For shy girls, this can make meeting men in public a difficult task. If you were more outgoing type, you may have a problem with sparking a conversation with strangers or meeting men in public. That's great for you because a lot of women have hard time meeting guys while out and about. Being outgoing is a great trait to have when you're single. But there's a good and bad side of everything. Be careful that you're not being too flirtatious or you may be sending out a bad message. Some men like to make assumptions and automatically conclude if you're flirting with him. Well, then you must want to, you know what, him, you just being flirty. Then there's other end of the spectrum that men that completely get caught off guard and don't know how to handle their flirty situations. Use a fine balance of being friendly and flirty. And if you're shy, step it up. If you're naturally ongoing, then just make sure you're being too flirty when first meeting men in the public. More intense flirting can be saved for second and third encounters if they arise. Be on be outgoing and allow your personality to shine. Just be aware of yourself and pull back with the flirting if you think your friendliness is scaring men off or giving them the wrong impression. Don't let the chapter intimidate you, turn you off from meeting men in public. Remember, we have the upper hand. Men are silly for titles. Oh, no. They can't keep it. We have the spoon fed them the pea, or they get cocky and make assumptions. Or exact opposite happens. They get scared and confused. Ignore the testosterone included foolishness and simple have fun with them. When you master the power of personality, you will encounter endless possibilities to meet men in public. Mix the personality power and the power of confidence and top it all off with the power of the P. And a lot of men will become putty in your hands. Don't take the whole meeting man public thing too seriously. Always remember these last 4 words when implementing the advice in this chapter. Men come a dime a dozen. If one guy doesn't respond or approach you, there's 1,000 more coming right behind him. Be confident. The power of the confidence should never be underestimated. It's very, very important. Practice makes perfect. The more you implement the advice above, the more comfortable you will become when interacting with men in public. Of course, if you knew all of this, your shy is going to feel very strange at first. However, with time and practice, any woman can become a master of drawing men to her. Most importantly, we have fun. When you're single, the world is your candy store and men are your candy. This is about you, not them. This isn't about throwing yourself out to the wolves like a piece of meat. It's about you getting out there and having a good time. It's about you enjoying the thrill of the hunt. Give a man a look, flash a pretty smile, and utilize the power of the P. Flirt. You're in the driver's seat. You're the seducer. Don't be scared to get out there and be a vixen. Enjoy being single. You're free to do what you want, meet who you want, and be who you want. Embrace this time in your life by having fun and all of this. Dating and being single is not meant to be stressful. If it ever gets too stressful, you're taking it too seriously. Relax and have fun. Places to meet men. If you want men to approach you, you got to go where men like to hang out. Below is a list of places where you can meet men, along with a few helpful hints. Okay, you can meet men at the horse race game on game day, the gym, the grocery store, classes, college, trade schools, cooking classes, coffee shop, airport lounge, if you travel a lot, the beach, the gas station, pumping gas, pumping air in your tires. Hey, it works for me. Church, speed, dating, local bar or restaurant near the arena, after a big game or concerts. Sports bars during a big game. Casinos. Bars near upscale workplaces such as doctors, stockbrokers, bankers, and lawyers and officers. Dark dog park clubs that are hosting after parties for concerts. Music store, hardware store, the TV department of your local big box store. These last three are great places because you can spark up a conversation by asking a question. When you decide to go depends on what kind of man you're looking for. For example, if you're looking for an older, more mature man, you may want to go to horse race when they're hosting a live race. If you love sports buffs, then you go to the local pub or game night. If musician turns you on, then you go to live shows hosted local bands and music stores. One thing that works, and this is going to sound crazy, is to go to the gas station, dress somewhat nice, and put air in your tires or check your oil. Look around confused. I've noticed that men feel more comfortable approaching a woman that has when he sees a distress. Also in the man's element, so he feels he can offer you advice and help, thus giving him a boost in confidence. Meeting men is a numbers game. The more men you interact and engage with, the higher chances are that you will find the ones that are single and attracted to you. However, if you're set on a sideline, quietly waiting and hoping for a man to come up to talk to you, you will die lonely, old lady. That's why I always recommend online dating. It gives everyone the boost they need to interact freely. However, knowing how to draw a man to you naturally is personality power that every woman who's single should practice and master. So that was chapter 1 on personality. Chapter 1, the power of personality when you're meeting up with a man. So that's basically it. I read over chapter 1. So tomorrow I may do chapter 2, depending on how I feel. But this is the power of the P. So check it out down at the bottom. And I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for joining my live. I really appreciate the gifts and everything as well. And thank you.